the Senior Bowl really lived up to the name this year, not through Jim Nagy's fault, because everybody was old. And this is a really different draft class, Trevor, because, and some would say it's not a good draft class after the first 3 rounds, because of the fact that everyone had a 6th year, not everyone, but with COVID, there are a lot of 6-year guys in this draft. There are a lot of players who would have gone in last year's draft but came back for the money, the NIL money. Take a kid like Sione Vaki, the safety from Utah, who also doubles as a 3rd down back. Like, that's wild. He went on a 2-year Mormon mission, but is a true sophomore and is one of the younger players at the Senior Bowl. I mean, it used to be you go on your 2-year mission, you're one of the old men. He was one of the younger guys at the Senior Bowl because, Trevor, we have so many 6-year guys in this draft.
The COVID year of eligibility, it's throwing everybody for a loop. In December, you can't keep track of, oh, this guy's coming back for sure. He doesn't have any eligibility left. Then all of a sudden, the draft declaration day comes and goes, and you go, wait a second, he came back? And I felt like that's what we were doing in the middle of January. Look, there's a player at Miami who I think it's on his 9th year of college football because of injuries and the COVID year and all that. And so
it's a career.
Absolutely wild. It is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's the Tommy Boy line of, a lot of people go to school for 7 years. They're called doctors. And then you're adding another 2, so then you're getting even further into it. So you thought the Tommy Boy line was crazy and we're adding 2 more years to it.
My friends went to Arizona State. I'm kidding.
I kid. They're trying to milk it a little bit, So look, it obviously, the age thing is going into this draft class. It makes it interesting. Some positions, age matters more than others. And look, breakout age metrics and breakout age production is something that I think does hold value. If you are able to dominate your competition level, whatever it is, as a underclassman, that's valuable because you're going up against a lot of starters who are normally upperclassmen. So if you as an 18, 19-year-old are able to hang with or even best competition that is 21, 22, 23 years old, that means a lot. It means you have a lot more production there, a lot less mileage when it comes to a physical position. But really, sometimes it matters for the trenches. Linebackers and running backs, that's the tough one, right? When you get into 23, 24 years old, it's a position that has so much demand physically, so much mileage. And we talk about, getting into your next contract, you're going to be late 20s, almost early 30s at that point with a position that is just that the lifespan is so much lower than it is for other guys. That kind of comes into play. But, quarterback, even wide receivers, I'm not really that worried about age when it comes to some of these guys, especially since this year specifically, we have seen players take advantage of that COVID year and make the most of it. Bo Nix is obviously somebody who is one who comes to mind as brilliantly getting better this past year, but there are a lot of different examples of that. And so sometimes, yes, you want the age to be a little bit lower, but if it means they're a better prospect going into the NFL, sometimes that's advantageous too. All
right, last thing. We agree, I think, right, that offensive line tackle specifically is probably the deepest position here? Yeah?
There's a lot of this year more than other years. It feels like you can get a good offensive tackle a lot later.
Is tight end the worst position in this draft?
It's got the most scarcity for sure. I mean, you got Brock Bowers at the very top, who's been an elite player. Anybody who's paid any attention to college football knows who Brock Bowers' name is. He's got the potential to go in the top 15, maybe the top 10. I think Jatavian Sanders doesn't get talked about enough, the former 5-star recruit who used to be a defensive end and also played tight end. He got to Texas. Now he plays tight end full time. Crazy athlete, really fluid athlete for his size. I think he is also a top 50 caliber player. I think he could be a back end of the first, early part of the second guy. But after that, pretty big drop off. I mean, we're talking about third, Cade Stover, Ben Sinnott, Jaheim Bell, maybe as that next guy as a third rounder, but potentially fourth rounder. And so it's a huge drop off if you don't get Brock Bowers or Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah, and Jaheim Bell, Florida State, formerly South Carolina, kind of an H-back guy that has, when he was at South Carolina, carried the football as well. He had, I believe, 70-plus career carries at South Carolina. He's not Deebo Samuel. I know they played the wide back there. A lot of people want to – he's not Deebo. He's a tight end who can carry the football. He's a versatile player, but again, not a day one Maybe a day 2 guy, regardless. Either way, PFF's big board is up, a lot of offensive linemen, and the mock draft here is fascinating with J.J. McCarthy at 10 with a trade, with the Broncos going up to 2. Got corners, got tackles, got Bo Nix getting into the first round at 30. It's fun. It is officially draft season. Go to PFF to get all Trevor Sikkema and his great team's work.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.